The main problem with entertainment nowadays is the lack of creativity. Everything is a sequel, a prequel, a reimagining, a reboot. There's very little originality. Think about it. What is the last original movie that came out of Hollywood which doesn't fit in the aforementioned criteria? I can't think of many. I think like the last good movie that wasn't a sequel or a prequel was probably John Wick, the first. Because after that, you get sequels. So that is something that a lot of people have noticed. And usually when they make a sequel or a reimagining, it moves away from the source material. It doesn't respect what made the franchise great to begin with. And they try to push political messages into it that have nothing to do with what the original IP was about. For example, recently I made a video in Star Trek. They pushed a Democrat into it. Like, how more political and on the nose can you get? And J.R. Tolkien has a quote which is being made quite popular now with the fact that evil cannot create, it can only pervert. And a lot of social justice activists are absolutely livid. They're fuming when you show them that quote. But there is something even more interesting. So I found this in an old X-Men comic from 2014. And it says that the X-Men, more puppets than people, travestites of the heroes I remember. When the reality no longer exists, exploiters can take the legend and make it whatever they want, good or bad. And this like literally blew my mind because this is exactly what I have seen Marvel doing constantly. Like, for example, they took Red Skull, which is a super Nazi villain, and they made it so that he sounds like Jordan Peterson. I mean, it's so bizarre, right? Like, you do realize that the character doesn't have autonomy. I mean, it's not a real being with thoughts. No, like, it's the writer. So the writer that got in charge of covering Captain America doesn't like Jordan Peterson. So he used an evil character in a very non-subtle way in order to get at Jordan Peterson. Exploiters can take the legend and make it whatever they want, good or bad. And this is not the only time. I mean, I remember when they used female Thor. Again, you know, the legend Thor. Like, they gave the mantle to some random character, and now it's like, it's female Thor, and if you don't like it, you're a sexist. And she stops a bank robber. But the reason she stops a bank robber wasn't because, you know, he was robbing money. I mean, maybe that was part of it, but it wasn't the reason. It's because he had negative things to say about feminism. And because of that, she gets hyper violent, right? So what do we learn from this? I remember reading a She-Hulk comic. Now, unfortunately, I didn't save it. But, my God, like, that was the epitome of how exploiters can take the legend and make it into whatever they want, good or bad. So, you have She-Hulk, which is a lawyer, and she was defending a person that got molested. Now, the judge decides to imprison the guy who did it, which was her boss, if I remember correctly. But She-Hulk wasn't happy with the sentence. She didn't think that justice was done because, according to her, she got off light. So as the guy is being carried by the cops to the prison, she actually appears in the middle of the street, punches the cop car. And from what we can tell, like, the cops are either gravely injured or worse. And she grabs the guy out of the vehicle and forces him to apologize in front of the victim. And I'm thinking, like, holy shit, you know, like, this is justice now. This is what the heroes in the comic books are doing. Like, heroes used to stand for truth, justice, and the American way, you know, like Superman. But no, like, now it's social justice. And social justice means that the courts have no power. Like, the courts aren't the ones that are powerful. It's might makes right. It's the superheroes that can just randomly kidnap people. And this is another one. I remember reading another comic. This was with Miss Marvel. She is part of this task force that has a mutant which can see the future. So they think that this guy is going to set fire to his school. And he does it by accident, by the way. Like, he wasn't even planning to get anyone hurt. He just was an edgy teenager and was lashing out. Completely unacceptable, by the way. But, like, one of the ways she could have gone around it was to just wait for him to try to do it, because they would know what he was about to do, right? So know what he was about to do it and catch him in the act. and then arrest him. But no, like what they do is like before he even commits the crime, they break into his parents' house. Now his parents are terrified, like they don't understand what's happening because they have like all these superheroes breaking in. They kidnap the guy and they take him to this black site without any sort of trial. I mean, exploiters can take the legend and make it whatever they want, good or bad. My God, this is really such a descriptive way of what's happening in comic book industry in the United States. It is beyond abysmal. And it's not just in comic books; it's in movies as well. You know, like in Terminator, for example. Like what if you watch the first two Terminators, you notice that Sarah Connor really cares about John, and she's willing to sacrifice everything for John. But if you watch the latest installment, like she hates the fact that she's being viewed as a uterus, just as a vessel to carry the mankind savior and blah blah blah. And I'm thinking like that is such a postmodernist view of what a mother is. It's absolutely disgusting. It's vile. Like, no, a mother is more than a vessel. She is the person that's going to provide the education for the child. She's like the person that gets to nourish. You know, like Sarah Connor was being viewed as important as John. In fact, like in the first movie, they go after her. And in the second movie, she is essential in managing to avert the birth of Skynet. But yes, exploiters can take the legend and make it whatever they want, good or bad. And this is what these people are. They're exploiters. They don't care about the franchise. They don't care about the IP. They don't even try to entertain you. Like, that's not their goal. Their goal is to create something progressive that the New York Times will write articles about it and they will clap. And they get to feel like they're good people because they got the attention of Senpai, which is the journalist at the New York Times. And if you want further proof, I got a video coming up, probably tomorrow, about how the people who are making Halo, the TV show, haven't even played the video game. And you have to wonder, it's like, okay, why couldn't they just create something that's not Halo then? I mean, you can make something Halo-inspired. And I'm willing to bet, like, a lot of people say, well, it's the franchise, right? It's the IP. But, like, at this point, if you make something original, that will probably get more eyeballs than if you rip off an IP that you don't even like. And secondly, like, why wouldn't they hire people who like the game? I mean, there are so many Halo fans out there that it's impossible you can't find someone who's passionate about it to make a movie. But exploiters can take the legend and make it whatever they want, good or bad. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the comment section. Oh, and I usually don't ask, but I guess I should. If you like the channel, please consider subscribing, giving a thumbs up, and if for some weird reason you really like it, then consider becoming a member of my Subscribe Star. There's a link into the pinned comment. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you later. Take care.